Jaya Gopijana Girivardhari Jaya Gopijana Yashodanandana 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 Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Jaya Radha Gopi Vallabha Radha Gopi Vallabha Radha Jaya Radha Gopi Vallabha Jaya Nitai Patita Pavan Gaurari 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Now Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacha Ashtotra Sutashman Mangresa Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Now Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacha Ashtotra Mangresa Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Raj Prabhupada ki Shat Goswami Maharaj ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki all glories to Assembly, all glories to Assembly, all glories to Assembly, all glories of Shri Guru and Shri Goswami Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Thank Shanti Prabhu for giving this opportunity. I have no qualification to sit on this Vyasasana, but it's mercy comes like that. So read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, verse number 43. This is the episode of Kardam Muni. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So 323:43 is repeated. Prekshayitva Bhugolam Patneyavan Swasamstaya Bahuvasharyam Mahayogi Swashramaya Nivartata Prekshayitva Bhugolam Pratneyavan Swasamstaya Bahuvasharyam Mahayogi Swashramaya Nivartata Prekshayitva Bhugolam Patneyavan Swasamstaya Bahuvasharyam Mahayogi Swashramaya Nivartata Prekshayitva Bhugolam Patneyavan Swasamstaya Bahuvasharyam Mahayogi Swashramaya Nivartata. Somebody can recite. Prekshayitva Bhugolam Padnyayavan Swasamstaya Bahuvasharyam Mahayogi Swashramaya Nivartata Prekshayitva Bhugolam Padnyayavan Swasamstaya Bahuvasharyam Mahayogi Swashramaya Nivartata. Prekshayitva, after showing Bhuva of the universe, Golam, the globe, Patnyai, to his wife, Yavan, as much, Swasamstaya, with its arrangements, Bahuvasharyam, full of many wonders, Mahayogi, the great yogi Kardama, Sva-ashramaya, to his own hermitage, Nivartata, returned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. After showing his wife the globe of the universe and its different arrangements, full of many wonders, the great yogi Kardama Muni returned to his own hermitage. Please repeat after me. After showing his wife the globe of the universe and its different arrangements, full of many wonders, the great yogi Kardama Muni returned to his own hermitage. All the planets are here described as Gola, round. Every planet is round. And each planet is a different shelter, just like islands in the great ocean. Planets are sometimes called Dvipa or Varsha. This Earth planet is called Bharata Varsha because it was ruled by King Bharata. Another significant word used in this verse is Bahu Asharyam, many wonderful things. This indicates that the different planets are distributed all over the universe in the 8 directions, and each and every one of them is wonderful in itself. Each planet has its particular climatic influences and particular types of inhabitants and is completely equipped with everything, including the beauty of the seasons. In the Brahma Samhita 5.40, it is similarly stated, Vibhuti Bhinnam. On each and every planet, there are different opulences. It cannot be expected that one planet is exactly like another. By God's grace, by nature's law, each and every planet is made differently and has different wonderful features. All such wonders were personally experienced by Kardama Muni while he traveled with his wife. Yet, he could return again to his humble hermitage. He showed his princess wife that although he was living in the hermitage, he had the power to go everywhere and do anything by mystic yoga. That is the perfection of yoga. One cannot become a perfect yogi simply by showing some sitting postures, nor by such sitting postures or so-called meditation can become God, as is being advertised. Foolish persons are misled into believing that simply by some caricature of meditation and sitting postures, one can become God within 6 months. Here is the example of a perfect yogi. He could travel all over the universe. Similarly, there is a description of Durvasa Muni, who also traveled in space. Actually, the perfect yogi can do that. But even if one can travel all over the universe and show wonderful feats like Kardama Muni, he cannot be compared to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose power and inconceivable energy can never be attained by any conditioned or liberated soul. By the actions of Kardama Muni, we can understand that in spite of his immense mystic power, he remained a devotee of the Lord. That is the real position of every living entity. That's into the purport. The Prabhupada ki. Yeah. So we heard a beautiful class yesterday from His Grace Kishore Prabhu on 3:23:42. Any significant so just learning from all of you. So just to share what I read and heard from Srila Prabhupada and our Acharyas. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjanashya Tasmai Shri Gurave. I offer my respectful obeisance unto my spiritual master, who has opened my eyes, which are blinded by ignorance, darkness of ignorance, with the torchlight of knowledge. So this is very interesting pastime, as Prabhuji was yesterday explaining Kardama Muni being a renounced yogi, but is exhibiting these amazing mystic powers by creating a wonderful aeroplane, a city by itself, and taking his wife on a tour of the universe. So on a mundane sense, I was just thinking like it's like a, on mundane sense, people go for a honeymoon to go some places, but maybe through the scriptures we can see what kind of honeymoon they can do. Like he has the mystic power to create and maintain, and as well as dissolve it. So, and all attained. And is he showing off his power? No. So as we have seen in the previous verses, he's doing this on the request of his wife, because being a princess, she has been serving for years and years, and she has become very thin, matted hair, and because the purpose of their wedding is to basically to expand the creation. So for that purpose, she was reminding, like, no, I'm in this condition, so do whatever is best. And so he made her take part in the holy waters and served by thousands servant maids, and she regained her beauty. She became very beautiful, and then he created this wonderful plane where they can do the pastime and create the next progeny. So, and I was hearing from His Holiness Rampas Maharaj, he is mentioning, it's not necessity. It's not necessary. It's not a necessity for him to do this. It's basically because of on her request, Devahuti, he did that. This one aspect, because in the parallel you can draw about Gautama Rishi and Ahalya. They also, had children, but he didn't create all this. They just had a child, and then the pastime how, and one of the sons was serving as minister in Janakumara's palace we hear in Ramayana, and also like all that episode of curse of Ahalya, how Indra was lusty, and then he tried to disguise himself. But the story apart. So she requested, basically, if you read the previous verses, because she is mentioned, like basically she is like serving him, she's not even having proper sleep, nothing. So she became very thin with matted hair. And see, for them to have the essential to get into intercourse and then have children. So she's reminding him, this is my situation, so do whatever is best. And then so he facilitated that using his mystic powers. So it is not to show off or like not for the sensual enjoyment, because if you see, after showing his wife the globe of the universe and its different arrangements full of many wonders, the great yogi Kardamuni returned to his own hermitage. And Srila Prabhupada, as always, very expertly writes this purport. If you see, every purport is full in itself, because his way of presentation is, first he is talking about the whole creation, how the universe is like globe and like, so all this opulent creation. And then he is talking about the mystic powers of Kardama Muni, through which he is able to create all this. And then he is drawing parallel to that somebody should not be misled by, the false gurus. And I don't know why he mentioned, but 6 months he said somebody can attain some yogic siddhis and then, show off and then. But then again, he is again drawing us, taking it, because Kardama Muni, after doing all this, is not attracted and staying. Like we all came to United States and were attracted by this opulence. And then we decided to stay here, isn't it? Leaving our Punya Bhumi, or, as Prabhu was yesterday mentioning, some people were coming from India to US just to avoid being caught up in that bribery situation. Because if you are living, you are bound to be caught up in that bribery. You have to give bribe for getting things done in India. So we are somehow attracted, but when Kardama Muni has taken Devahati to all these wonderful planetary systems, sometimes you feel like, no, you go to Hawaii, oh, such a beautiful place. We shall be living here. So, no, there's a purpose. He has shown everything. I can do all this, but he came back to his hermitage. Then, again, Prabhupada, again, with expert commentary, he concludes, even though Kardama Muni does all this, but the Supreme Personality of Krishna is the, is the supreme of yogic. Is the mystic, is the supreme mystic. It is just tiny part which he was showing, but the Supreme Lord can do much more magic, isn't it? If you see, Kardama Muni has created this plane and then has taken his wife all around the universe and came back. But look at Arjuna, the mystic power of Krishna. Did he move an inch? No. When Krishna showed his universal form, everything has shown by keeping Arjuna in that same place. That is the power of the Supreme Lord. He has given the eyes to see, and he has shown the whole universe. Just making Arjuna stand there. He doesn't need to create a plane where Arjuna has to board and then go all around. Hey, go take around and look. He's just shown everything there. So just even if you compare, so as you see, all the planets are here described as Gola. A lot of times we quote this, because from the scriptures we always hear that Earth is a globe and all the planets are in globe. What you see, the moon you see as a globe, the sun you see as a globe. So everything is globe. But there were beliefs in ancient times. People used to think that Earth was flat, isn't it? If you go towards the end of the Earth, then you'll fall out. That was scientists were saying. And then, but we had these differences. And even you see, like they are referring to Dvipa, the Sapta Dvipa. We always, we learn in our history, like Columbus discovered America, or Vasco da Gama discovered India, or all these things, history. But this has been there. Srimad Bhagavatam, if you go a few chapters previous, you will see, like, there is mention of a Saptadvipa, which are the 7 continents. Even Shankaracharya, mentioned it 1500 years ago. So all these things are there in our scriptures. The Gola means it's a globe, and it's mentioned about Bharatavarsha, how King Bharat was ruling, even Parikshit Maharaj was ruling, the whole Swayambhu Manu. Like they're all emperors of the universe, like the whole universe. It's not just one part of like in India or this continent. So I was hearing some other lectures, in Russia, like it's all part of the whole Bharatvarsha. You see there are references like Kaikeyi, and then there are some words or places which resemble. You must have heard from His Holiness Bhakti Rasayan Sagar Maharaj when he was visiting here. He was talking about a place in Germany. Do you remember? Like he also shared the picture of Nrsingadev in a cave near Germany. That place, I don't recall exact name, but the place name is something related to something sounds like Nishima, and then in that place they found a cave, and in the cave they found flute, and they found half lion, half man. And Maharaj was sharing that picture, and in fact I didn't bring my chanting bag. I have that small picture of that Nrsimha. So it's been there. It's like the whole Bharatavarsha, like expanding into like all these continents. But then for a period of time, as Krishna says, like, all this parampara is broken, like that, like, this is broken, and then, like, different philosophies, different faiths, and, it's getting ruined. It's getting ruined. And Srila Prabhupada here quotes while explaining about this creation in the Brahma Samhita 5.40, where you see this is a very famous thing we quote from Brahma Samhita. Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanda Koti Koti Shashesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Pinnam Brahma Nishkalam Anantam Ashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. So here we see the variegatedness in the creation. Here it says Vibhuti Bhinnam. Prabhupada is quoting this from Brahma Samhita. Vibhuti Bhinnam, variegatedness. That means Prabhupada is explaining, in each planet there are living beings, there are some seasons which are happening, regular seasons which are happening, and inhabitants, everything is there. But it's different from what we see. We are living in, like, it's called, Prabhupada quotes often, Mandukanya, like you're like a frog in a well. How much we can conceive or, think about the big ocean. The frog can think, like, about the well, the surroundings. If you just put it like, ask the frog to describe about the vast ocean, what it can describe. It's our situation. We are living in that closed mindset. And we perceive certain things, based on, like, all the scientists, they say, oh, this is what it is, this is what it is, we believe them blindly. But our scriptures show, they say. So, Bhinnam, Vibhuti Bhinnam. Forget about all the other universes. They claim that they have gone to moon, they didn't see. Maybe the human beings who are not like us, the inhabitants there, or the conditions there, even in the sun, there is life. As per our scriptures, even in the sun, there is life. But we cannot perceive, we cannot believe without, like, Mandukanya. And forget about all this big creation and all that. Just look around us. Just look around us, the variegatedness. None of us are looking same. We have the same hands, limbs, everything. But Sanatana Govind Prabhu is looking different. Ananta Giridhari Prabhu is looking different. We are different. Each of us, like, somebody can recognize, this is Prabhu, this is, So that variegatedness is there. Look at flowers. Within a flower, rose, is it same? All roses are same? You see beautiful garlands made by Premadhavi, Prabhupada and other Matatis. You see, the rose is white, yellow, pink, red, isn't it? And everything is stemming out of a plant. The same plant we see. One plant gives rose, one plant gives jasmine. One plant gives marigold. Isn't it? We just take it for granted. The flowers, that's it. But if you just go a little deeper into what is the creation all around us, even the trees. Some trees survive in winter, we see, like, and then different trees, different leaves. All around other animals, all the creation, even around us, we see so much of a variegatedness. And just try to expand that thinking to other planetary systems, other universes. So Srila Prabhupada is expanding that idea and explaining that there are inhabitants, there are seasons which are going on, which we cannot perceive with our mundane, limited, tiny knowledge. However scientific we want to prove. We say, oh, there is no water on Mars, or we say, what, no water there. Maybe water is not non-existing there. Maybe some other fluid is existing, which people will be consuming to live there. Who knows? But our Shastra says, as Prabhupada is clearly saying here in the purport, that There are different planets are distributed all over the universe, and each and every one of them wonderful in itself, had its particular climatic influences and particular types of inhabitants, and is completely equipped with everything, including the beauty of the seasons. Prabhupada is complete circle is covering. He's telling not just inhabitants, the seasons, and it is complete by itself, because every creation is complete. He doesn't leave anything, any gaps. So Vibhuti Bhina. So from this, Prabhupada is drawing the magnanimous creation by Krishna. And then he moves on to talk about the mystic powers of Kardama Muni. He is able to create this planet by itself, you can call it. It has everything incomplete. And then he was able to create, he was able to maintain, and he was able to emulate in his own sense with his mystic powers. And Prabhupada is again comparing him. It's not that, somebody sits in some posture and does some mystic yogic, showing off his mystic yogic siddhis and claiming that is God. We see all around us, isn't it? There are people, I was talking to one of my friends in New Jersey a few years back, and he was telling, he's going and meeting some yogi, and then so like there are tickets like 250, 500, 1,000. What is the ticket? So the higher you pay, the closer you can. And what he does, he sits on water and then gives pravachan. And the closer you sit, the higher you pay. It's nonsense. Many people, even mundane people, have demonstrated walking on New York, lakes and rivers in pants and shirts. So like you can attain the siddhi. Maybe that is referring. Prabhupada is referring here, particularly in purport. He said in 6 months. And Prabhupada says that must be like something is possible within 6 months. Maybe we can go to some yogi and all those 8 yogis are there now. Yogic siddhis you can attain. There are people who are even at present living in Himalayas who have all those mystic powers, but they're not coming out and showing off and claiming that I am God. And we have all around. I don't want to name, but you see, how many of you have seen those funny videos or captions of Nityananda claiming that yes, God. Imagine this is happening in the current world. It's so much of technological advancement, we say. But, he absconded and he is living in some island. He says he will have his own currency. He's going to have his own passports. And there are people who believe in people who are living, even educated people, scholars, they're disciples. So Prabhupada is mentioning about those bogus gurus. And somebody claims, they can create ashes, somebody does this, somebody does that, and then we all accept. I was listening to Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. He's very heavy. He's very heavy. I don't know how many of you have, had a chance. I had good fortune to learn from his strictness. I was able to serve him sometimes. I was listening to him. He was talking about you make some fakir, from some religion as some supreme, and then that's what's happening in India. Every corner you see temple worship, or this Baba, that Baba, and then it's going Ma Vaishnavi, and my own relatives are there. They appreciate the philosophy we are following, but they don't adopt it. And then they have their own way. They go and they have some wash his feet and they do all sorts of nonsensical things. Even at this age, even though everything is given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, or the parampara, the messages given by acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, who are genuine acharyas. How fortunate we are, we have to see here. And Prabhupada is mentioning about this. Isn't it? We should not take it for granted. At least I'm talking to myself. Because who would have been led by one of those false gurus in one of those things, isn't it? And how fortunate we are that you are in touch with somebody who is a genuine guru and have taken up this process with some seriousness. And many of us here in Diksha, and then trying to follow in whatever capacity we can. Shyam Kishore Prabhu has dedicated his life. We are as Grihasthas, we are trying to do whatever we can. But how fortunate we are. Just imagine when what we are seeing from Srila Prabhupada's purport here. Somebody can claim by showing these gimmicks. We can call them gimmicks, and then claim themselves as a God. So we have to be careful, and if we can, and I will read something from Srila Prabhupada actually, which is very interesting conversation, I think room conversation. It is this happened on January 27, 1977, location in Jagannath Puri, Prabhupada. That rectification means to stop this repeated birth and death. Again chance, again chance. Guru Kripa. Why does it take us so long to learn? Prabhupada, that is your intelligence. You have got a good intelligence. Guru Kripa. But the intelligence is awarded from, intelligence according to the individual is awarded according to pious activities. Prabhupada. Yes. Intelligence is developed by association, by hearing, by experiencing. I repeat, Prabhupada is saying, intelligence is developed by association, by hearing, by experiencing. Otherwise, very big intelligence, he is also dull. Don't you see the big leaders, Gandhi and Radha Krishna? They have no intelligence. They are misinterpreting the whole, although they are passing as very big men, intelligent. And if you say to them that you are not intelligent, you are wrongly interpreting Bhagavad Gita, they will be offended. So intelligence is so dull, even to such big men. Not to speak of ordinary men. Big demigods. Their intelligence also lacking. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Kon, somebody very fortunate, he can understand. Kon Bhagyavan. And another place, Brahmara Durlabha Prema. Even Brahma cannot understand what is Krishna consciousness. Manushyanam Sahasreshu, Bhagavad Gita 7.3. These things are there. So this intelligence is not easy. Na janma kotibi shukrite labhyate. Bahunam janmanam. Bhagavad Gita 7.91 is quoting. There are so many places that to come to Krishna consciousness is not so easy. I repeat Prabhupada's words. There are so many places that to come to Krishna consciousness is not so easy. It requires very great intelligence and Satsvarupa. When you say the creation is mercy, the only mercy is the spiritual master. And Prabhupada, here he says, what is mercy? Mercy means there is regular propaganda to give this intelligence. Mercy means there is regular propaganda to give this intelligence. So you have to pat on your back, everybody, that you can appreciate yourself, because Prabhupada is saying to come to Krishna consciousness is not easy. It requires very great intelligence. So that is a compliment to all of us. But how do we take that mercy? Prabhupada is concluding here in the conversation. He says, mercy means there is regular propaganda to give this intelligence. So not that we gain this knowledge. So that's what we do. Actually, I didn't take a picture of today's quote of Srila Prabhupada. Actually, that's what he's mentioning, that these centers are meant for that. The ISKCON centers are meant for that. You can read today's quote, December 18th quote of Srila Prabhupada. So that is one aspect. Then Prabhupada, after drawing this comparison that Kardamani is able to do this, but there is supreme yogi, supreme mystic yogi, Krishna, who can do much more, and he is all in all. and he is talking about his supremacy. In the final paragraph of today's purport, he is telling about Krishna and also the humility of Kardamani. He is not puffed up. After doing all this, he came back to his hermitage because he knows his condition is a realized soul. So we also should be doing that in one way or another. And I hear from His Holiness Indraguna Swamaraj many a times he tells in his lectures that I am an adopted son of Bharat Bhumi. And he looks at Indian bodies and he says, you are fortunate, you are born in India. And Prabhupada says, no, that famous quote is there. No, what is that? Duty of everyone who is born in India to give this message. That's what we are hearing from this. Even though we have come to other continent, but we shouldn't be carried away. Recently, I met His Holiness Indraguna. I was telling my daughters, like, don't get carried away by this American life or these material opulences all around you. Because you have to realize your roots, where we come from, and the values and principles. I'm talking to myself, and then how we can give that and share that with the other people. I just want to read one Prabhupada's conversation on this artist behind the creation. This has happened in 1973 in Hare Krishna Center in London. Prabhupada, modern scientists say that there is no brain behind the creation. How foolish they are. If we see a painting, we would not say this, there is no brain behind this artistic work. It is so wonderfully painted, yet it has been created automatically. There is no artist. This is foolishness. But the scientists say that there is no artist behind the creation of a beautiful flower, as we just talked about, without a brain behind it. How could such thing come into existence? But these rascal scientists do not understand. They say nature produces the flower. What is nature? Nature is an instrument, but the brain behind nature is God. When you paint a flower with a brush, the brush is not the creator of the painting. You are the creator. Similarly, in the creation of real flower, nature is only the brush, but the creator is God. A guest, no two are the same, are they? As we just discussed in today's purport. Prabhupada says, yes, everything is full of variety. In one species of rose, you will find many varieties. And in the human species, you will find variety even between twin brothers. Guest, and in the spiritual world, are there also varieties? Prabhupada says, oh yes, there is unlimited ananda or pleasure. And pleasure means variety. Variety is the mother of enjoyment. For example, from grain, very beautiful example Prabhupada gives, from grain, sugar and ghee, clarified butter, we can prepare hundreds of varieties of delicious foods. If you simply try to eat plain ghee, sugar and grain, they will not be enjoyable. But if someone takes them and prepares varieties of sweets and then gives them to you upon a plate, you will say, oh, these are so nice. Such a great variety of foods can be prepared from these three ingredients. So Prabhupada draws these examples or analogies or logic so that a simple person can understand. Just he is talking about a grain, sugar, and how you can eat the same ingredients, but mix of those things by someone creates different sweets, isn't it? And we offer it to the Lord. So, and there's much more Prabhupada says here, and Prabhupada always gives his logic. So he says, for another analysis he gives, from your body, water is produced. Is it not? Prabhupada says, yes. Prabhupada says, urine is coming, perspiration is coming. These waters are produced by the energy within your body. Isn't it? It's a common understanding. So why can the vast waters of the Atlantic Ocean not be produced from God's energy? Today's purport, it says about all these universes, and all these universes floating on a different ocean of space. We are talking about ocean of, this So how can this be not possible? From your body, you are producing, water. Perspiration comes. That's production from this. So how come, God cannot create this? So with some simple examples, Prabhupada makes the point, and there is somebody who cannot just, accept it, or, there's no, and that's why we say Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. So these are a few thoughts I would like to share on today's verse. And if there are any corrections or comments, I can take. If any questions, then Shyam Kishore will answer. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. And so in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 5th canto, it says how over the Manasotara mountains, the sun is moving and covers the entire, like in this verse, it describes the universe as Gola, as a sphere around the, and then so the sun is going on top of the Manasotara mountain 24 hours and comes back to the same location. So, and this can explain the day and night very clearly. And however, as you just mentioned, from very young age in school, it's already being taught to children that the earth is rotating around rotating every 24 hours, around 24 hours. And that is the cause of the day and night. So we had this discussion just last evening in my family there, like how, like nobody's really seen the earth rotating, but it is already there, being put in as a way to explain day and night. And it is already from the very first grade, it has already been put into the brains of the children. And then it's stuck. And then any other thing, whether they have seen it or not, whether there is proof for it or not, it is already there throughout their life. So, and it's very hard to even take it out from this, even if there are more simple, natural explanations given in the scriptures. Just a thought. And
yeah, that's true, bro. That's why, we encourage, the Gurukula education. If you go to Mayapur and Vrindavan, you feel like you're in a foreign country. Because if you go to Mayapur, you see all these Europeans, Russians, everybody, they came and they settled, and then all the children are going to Gurukula. Because your point is correct, because from childhood, people talk about the Darwin theory and how evolution happened, we all came from. But if you read our what's his name, Michael Cremo, Prabhuji, he's talking about devolution of mankind, and if you see, he presented the facts. Not even from the scriptures, even from material facts, they are there, how the evolution happened. There were artifacts which they have hidden. Purposefully, they have hidden from public display just to support Darwin's theory. Can you imagine? I heard his lecture, and I read some parts of his book. They hidden the evidences just to support this. This is all happening. This cheating thing is happening. That's why it is now, at least for the present government in India, they're trying to revive the history, because history books are all nonsense. What is written in history books are all nonsense, including what is Taj Mahal, what is this, what is that, and all the places, the names of the places, the history of the places is nonsense, which is written in books. So they're trying to revive, going back and back and then. So if it has been America, it would have been much more preserved and brought out. Like Dwarka, the whole city under this. Some movie somebody made, and then some awareness came. But how many people know? This visit, I was just coming back from India. I was talking to many of my friends or relatives. I was talking about TOVP. None of the people are aware. And we are talking about Adbhut Mandir. Just an example, tiny example I'm giving. So something coming up, which is a wondrous building, Prabhupada's desire and instruction. But not many people know about it. So it's our duty to tell about it, because it's going to be the wonder of the whole world. How creation has happened is going to be shown to the entire world. And your point is correct, like, because this has been rubbed upon as a childhood, and then it just imprints on our minds. That's why we encourage people to come for the Sunday class, Sunday schools, and all. ISKCON is trying to do these things. And other parampara which is doing to some extent is Sri Sampradaya. Other than these two, like, none are doing any kind of, like, at least they have some systematic way. Chinnajaya Swami has established some universities, some systematic way of Gurukul, like, the Brahmachari ashram and all of that. That's happening in ISKCON and that's Sampradaya, and they complement each other. Chinnajaya Swami very appreciative of ISKCON. I was quoting this Venkateshwara temple they opened. So on the opening, he came for opening Chinnajaya Swami, and there were thousands of people, like maybe like 6,000-7,000 or maybe 10,000 people. And I couldn't get it, like, so many people, like I was standing at the last, in the sense, like, as he was passing away and approaching towards the road, we were the last to stand in my dhoti and tilak. And as he was going, he asked the driver to stop, and he called me. And then he said, where from? I said, like, ISKCON Seattle is doing very good. Like, I was there also. Like, and he was appreciating it. And I was there, like, when he came to Seattle, he said, devotees were arranging prasadam, his own disciple. He said, like, please get me prasadam from ISKCON. They are the only people who maintain standards. They are appreciative. And he was, out of all the people, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Tilak and Dhoti, which has recognized, he recognized that, and then he was just complimenting. There is no reason for him to stop there, but that is only these two sampradayas doing. You're right, because we have to do this, that through Sunday schools and all this learning. And we are lacking actually, but some of the Prabhupada disciples that reading our children's books, so many books, they are needed, because without which, how you can educate people, particularly children. They are bringing up, Kosarupa Mataji writes some of the books, like with nice pictures of, So all these things are needed. If you bring in these pictures and the books, otherwise people will read Harry Potter and those kind of fantasy stuff. And I remember, like, Dhanavir Goswami Maharaj from Kansas, I was working there, and he had this plan, but unfortunately it's not manifesting. He wanted to have this, like Florida people go now, for what? To Disneyland. Maharaj had this great idea of creating, like, how, all these demons Krishna killed, all these in a display in a beautiful park, which can be called some Golok Park, something like that. He had this master plan, but unfortunately he fell in, like, nothing is moving. But this is how we have to promote. And
so just as a follow-up to it, so right now I'm Dhanavir Goswami, since you just mentioned, he and his some of his students have written a book on Surya Siddhanta they're working on, and they asked me to read through it and give them comments. And also in the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, I've given a couple of lectures on creating diagrams for the structure of the universe. So, like, when my kids, for example, when they see me doing these things, so every time when I have to explain them something, I have to tell them, keep this within home, don't go explain this in the school, because in the school it will create confusion, because they are teaching from a completely different premise. So it is not that easy also while raising children, because you're teaching something at home and then you tell them, deprogram it before you go to school, because the teacher will think that you're having bizarre ideas.
That's a challenge, bro. That's a challenge, I've seen some people are doing homeschooling. Like Radhika Raman Prabhu is a great example. Like, I worked in Boise first. It was the first ISKCON temple I visited, and I've seen him as a small boy when I was going to the temple, and he was homeschooled, and as well as his brother Gopal. But it's not always possible. But when you go to the materialistic school, and then at the same time we want to educate them at home, it's a challenge. For us, it is different. We completed our education. We came here, we're trying to learn something, and then but it's difficult. But that's the correct approach, I believe, because if you don't want them to be like something different at school, so they have to just tolerate that phase of the thing if you want them to go to the schools, but have this background and foundation and principles and values. So I'm very happy to hear that you are doing that great service. Yeah. He sent me a whole set of books. I didn't get them. I used to work there and I used to go there, and he sent me the whole set of books of his writings. I got a chance to read, but thank you for sharing.
When Neil Armstrong landed on moon, that America propagated, that time, like maybe that is in 1969 or something, our ISKCON just started. At the time also, some of the devotees went to Prabhupada, they told Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. Prabhupada told no, nobody can land on the moon. So many people at that time
Left the moment.
Left the movement. And even one more thing, when Darwin's theory, when somebody asked about Darwin's theory, Prabhupada told, maybe your ancestors may be monkeys. My ancestors are not monkeys. Like
Prabhupada is very heavy. Prabhupada is very heavy on this. Like he said, like, and then you yourself understand that time there were no scientific proofs, but later so many scientific proofs have come that it's all fake, because they proved, like, there is always this, but we go by the words of our acharyas, our scriptures, sadhu shastra. So that is our praman, and we go by that. And again, thank you very much. And then I think two important points: you can consider yourself very intelligent, Prabhupada himself said, and then we should be considered as very fortunate. And the bottom line is we should take it for granted, and whatever we can give to others, we have to give and bring other people to this great sublime process of Krishna consciousness. Thank you for the people online. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Hare Krishna.
One second, let me just see this. Hang on, 1 second. Share. Yes, Roji, each and every leaf of a maple tree has unique signature. That is the power of Supreme Artist. Created this maple tree.